when I first listened to Divine Truth teaching, I was really very excited, and it was a few weeks like almost like a honeymoon.
Yes.
You know, I was really good about that, and I had this feeling like I learned something, and I understand most of it, you know. Yes. And I know more than everybody else, and it happens to many people, especially when they don't get feedback and so on overseas. And did it happen to you also, this kind of honeymoon period, when you feel you got it and you understand everything?
Yes, definitely. I felt like I was better than everyone else. I felt like, why do all those people not get it? It's so easy. You just have to feel things. But I wasn't really doing the real thing myself, and was just in a lot of la la land, I would say.
What would be your advice to people who discover Divine Truth about that? You know?
Just, I think, assume that you are not a loving person yet. I think, yes.
It's hard when you have no idea, eh? And when you have no idea what definition of God, of love is, what God's definition of, don't assume you are already loving, automatically.
And it maybe also it's not happening in 6 months or 2 months or a week. It takes a long time.
Would you share about, lots of people are doing mistake in the beginning, and they try things, and they believe they get things, and they understand, and they feeling, and all these things, and there is a lot of self-deception in the beginning, but it's a bit hard to see for ourselves what's going on. So often we need like an external feedback to get to see, there is something. So there is a lot of self-deception in and it's a learning process, I feel, in my experience, and in many. About yourself, 1 year and a half, so you got some feedback and things like that. Have you regret of something, or would you have done something different in the beginning if you had known a bit more about your own, condition and your own... would you have done something different now?
I think if I knew, I hope I would have. The thing is, before I came to Australia, I really had no idea at all, like nothing. And I think after I came to Australia, where I became even more arrogant after I came to Australia, I definitely would have liked to take different actions there.
Okay. What means, living the way in your understanding of Divine Truth? And do you believe you are on the way to God or not?
Most of the time, I don't really believe I am on the way, or I'm really engaging the teachings.
What does that mean, living the way, for a person who never heard that expression?
Really being responsible, feeling the feelings, being in truth, and be kind and loving towards other people.
Okay. So you have already received some feedback. Not so many people have, especially people overseas and so on. can you share a little bit about what you received and what you feel might be useful to others, basically, about that? What you have learned from it, yeah.
Yeah, so when I got feedback from Jesus, which is now, say, about 6 months, no, maybe a bit more, 6 months ago, I got feedback that I have addictions to power, superiority, like status and control and to be special. So yeah, it's, when you don't believe you have them and you get the feedback, it's not easy to
receive it.
Yeah, to receive it. I think especially with arrogance, it can be really difficult because it's like you believe you are somewhere like better than somewhere else. So even when you get feedback, it's like so hard to enter you because it's because you already believe you are better. So it's like the belief in you is like fighting this feedback, and it's not easy to then be open to it even. So I think a lot of people have some arrogance in some ways. So yeah, I think what the thing that helped me the most is just to be honest with myself and feeling what I really feel. Even often it's still difficult to see what my real feelings are sometimes, even especially when they're not nice feelings towards other people. It's still quite hard for me to accept those feelings. Yeah.
Well, it's especially when your definition of yourself and of love is in contradiction with what you are told. It feels like it's wrong.
Yeah.
And so
it's like you want to fight.
You want to fight. You get angry, or you get, and so many people receive feedback like that and get angry and. Yeah. So when you receive first, you were in resistance, and after sometimes did it change, or it just like you are still in this?
I feel like in some aspects I've definitely become more honest with myself and not as arrogant anymore. I think I still got a long way to go with it though. Feel like. Especially this belief that with this status, the higher the status you are, the better a person you are, or the more power you have, and that's really difficult for me. And also, I think my belief of competitiveness, I would say, that everything is a competition, and we need to be better than the other person. Yeah, I struggle with that quite a lot.
Do you feel today the feedback? Do you feel your emotions are more in alignment with the feedback today, or you feel it's more true today? You start to see the truth of it, and less fighting about it. Yeah.
Yes, I feel I feel like I do in some aspects.
Which put you in a place to be more open eventually to another feedback, right? Like as long as you resist, you are just close to any progress, basically. Yeah, it's often the case. Okay. Okay. Yeah, okay. So Divine Truth teaching tell that most of our grief, or fears, or addictions have their origin in how our parents or caretakers related to us based on their false definition of love. And they've themselves learned this false definition of love from their own parents, etc. So it's a generational thing. So until someone decides, some child at the moment decides to release the false definition of love that we received automatically, and it's imprinted in our soul. That's what Divine Truth teaching telling. So the error will pass from one generation to another, never ending, and that's what we see happening in the world.
Yes.
So, and all our actions, our thoughts, our words, everything will all be influenced by our definition of love. That is an error. That is wrong from God's perspective. Yeah. So, and so it will all be damaging to ourselves and to others. So as long as it continues. So what have you learned about your toxic dynamic with your parents and their false definition of love that have helped you into, breaking this generational, it's a chain. It's a chain of pain. I would call. What have you learned about that could, stop this chain in your family? If any.
So what I definitely learned is the relationship I had with my mom. As I said in the beginning, that I was Mama's favorite boy, and because of that, I basically became to believe that I'm very special. I'm better than the other boys, or I'm better than other people. Also, I feel like I got away with a lot of stuff. She just let me get away. But I can see that I still feel a lot of times I feel like it's my fault, but I know at least intellectually that it wasn't just the belief got forced onto me. It wasn't how can I say? I mean I know that I made a choice to accept some of those things, but there was always a trade-off in it. It was always that I had to give something for those feelings, and to be honest, most of it I don't really understand yet. Especially what actually the damages that it created in me. What I have become to understand is that, for example, when you feel superior, it's really it's hurtful that you that almost the belief is that the belief isn't true, so that you are equal. It feels like something gets away, and also it also feels like you got lied to all your life about those things. And also I feel like I don't have any worth without feeling better than other people or things like that. So
from a woman especially, like this projection. Yeah. Well, it's a big thing to explore and to go deeper into. But it seems that it's influenced all your life to know. Yeah.
Yes. And I can see that a lot of it I just understand intellectually. I don't really feel the truth yet. I would really love to be able to speak more about it, how it really damages the person who feels that way.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
For sure. would you say? Do you know what is your biggest challenge or major problem into progressing? What is the next thing now in order to grow happier and free of pain?
I think I just got some feedback that I don't really want to feel a lot of times, that I'm angry about feeling. So I think that is, if I look at it like, and that can be a really big problem too.
It doesn't look like you feel it's a real problem because you are laughing about it.
No, I don't, because I'm not. I mean, I'm not even really aware of it yet emotionally.
Yes.
So it's hard for me to see it, and then definitely still all those addictions that I mentioned before, and I think also addictions with not wanting to be responsible for my life, and a lot of things.
What is the first biggest you would say if you had to say that you need to work on?
For me, maybe I don't know if it is really the one that would help me the most, but for me, I think the most important thing is to not want to have power over other people anymore. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Do you often pray?
It depends. I think sometimes I don't really know when I really pray sincerely or when I'm just praying in my head, but I do pray sometimes. Yes.
What do you pray for?
I think most of the time to understand more.
For truth, then?
I don't know if I really that often pray for truth. I think that would be good to do more, but I think I often yes, in some ways I do pray for truth to understand about the issue more. Yes. And I guess just for assistance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you pray to God? Do you pray to?
Sometimes I pray to God, and sometimes I try to talk to my guide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know when you pray God answered?
Sometimes I'm realizing something happens, and I realize, that's something I prayed about a couple of days ago. But I think often I'm not praying something that is really sincere, so I don't get an answer.
Not always.
Yeah, not always. No.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe sometimes I don't even see the answer. I don't know, or don't want to see it. Yeah.
Right. Is that a daily practice or something like you do often, or just here and there, or is it in your life?
It's more when I feel like it. It's not that I wake up at 7 a.m. and pray or something.
Yes.
It's just
Okay. Have you had experiences with Divine Truth teachings, like about God's laws, or about God's love, or about God's truth? Personal experience that have been beneficial to you, and that you wish to share to others? Especially like things that help you to build faith, for instance. Faith in God's goodness, or faith in the teachings, or faith something that helped you really along the way that you like to share?
I think someone else shared this to me, and which was Matthew, my friend, and he told me, like, if you really want something or in a really desperate or shit place, then do everything you can yourself and pray to God for and feel the feelings that come up, and then I had sometimes some really amazing things that happened.
You mean really to put the whole of your being and soul into this prayer, basically, asking help.
Yeah. Yes.
And do everything you can to find out.
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. Do you have special daily practices or rituals in your life?
No, maybe eating, but no.
I mean spiritual things. Well, eating is spiritual, maybe. Yeah. Okay. No. But Divine Truth Teaching do not recommend any rituals or anything special to do, but some people do some things to help them,
I mean, maybe I drink water in the morning quite a lot when I wake up. That is maybe one thing.
And how would that help?
What I've learned, what I've learned is that when you drink a lot of water, it helps you to connect more to your emotions and be more in your body, I would say. Yeah.
Sensitive.
Did
you notice a difference when you drink more or less?
I definitely notice I don't feel as well when I don't drink a lot of water. I feel more thirsty. But
makes sense.
No, I can't. I always drink a lot, so I would have to experiment with not drinking a lot, but I don't really want to. Yeah. You
have not always drank a lot.
I always was someone who drank quite a lot, and I started to drink more when I became older, because I could feel that it was good when I drank a lot, and I always got headaches when I didn't drink enough. So yeah.
Okay, good. Have you tried to use willpower?
Yes. Quite a lot. I think I still use it quite a lot.
How does that go? How does that work?
It doesn't work. It's like, it feels like you try to run through an iron wall or something. It doesn't go. It doesn't break.
It doesn't work. Okay. You are still trying to break?
I think sometimes I'm still definitely.
So what would you recommend instead of using willpower?
I think it's better to just do what you want to do instead of trying to use your willpower. It's more honest, at least.
To be more honest with what you want to do. Yeah, first. Well, Divine Truth Teaching encourage people to awaken to their mediumship abilities.
Yes.
Something that naturally as a child everybody has, and a little baby and child they see people that we can't see as an adult often. Have you tried to reawaken this gift? What is your experience with that? Do you talk to Divine Truth Teaching say we have a guide all, and we have a spiritual guide, and we have also a guardian, so a person who take care of our life, physical life. And so what is your experience with that? Have you?
So I have tried to do a lot of mediumship, and I did for quite a while, but I couldn't feel who the person really was that I was talking to, and I got a lot of informations and feelings that weren't really what they appeared to be, and I burned my hand a bit with that. So right now sometimes I can feel like I know, but often it's still really hard for me to know what is what.
So are you still practicing some contact with you guys or some other mediumship, or you have stopped being?
I'm not like practicing like really openly, I would say, but I think I'm trying to open myself up a bit more to know who and what my guide really is.
Have you any idea?
No.
Would you have an advice to give to people who want to open to their guides and to help maybe people in the spirit world?
What I learned the other day, how I felt like I really could feel my guide or something, was when I remembered a toy when I was a child. It was a rabbit like that you could snuggle with, and I always felt really safe with that toy. And maybe if some people try to remember some things of their childhood, which, I mean, were their friends or their like, yeah, maybe
even a toy, you mean? Even
yes.
Something?
Yes, like something that you had always with you, or like,
feel safe.
Yeah.
And that's a way that could be a doorway to connecting with spiritual.
For me, it felt like that when I was a kid. That was probably my guide, and I could it was my safe haven in some ways. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for sharing. Divine Truth teaching speaks also about sleep states experience. So it's about every night when we go in deep sleep, we would be living we have another body besides the physical body. We have a spiritual body, and every night we would keep on living during the night. And do you have some experience about that? And do you have some memories? Because most of the time we forget when we wake up.
Mm-hmm.
But what about your experience relating to that?
I think sometimes I do remember. I feel like most of the time I remember dreams and not my sleep state. I think I have seen before where I am in the spirit world. I believe that what it was.
So which is a sleep state experience,
yes.
Right? Could you a bit talk about it?
Yes, it's not very proud. It's quite a dark place, and it looks quite dark, and it's quite lonely. Everything, what I remember, that everything is just dark.
How do you make the difference between a sleep state experience and a dream?
It's a good question. Just I think my feeling what it was, and also I think my dreams are often dreams are often they appear again and again, and often about the same thing. I often dream about that I'm back in school again. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what the message is behind that, but yeah.
It's kind of different substance, different feeling when it's a real life or when it's more symbolic. It's something. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. It's a ongoing matter to develop our knowledge of these experiences, right? Just like you had an experience with that, but you are going to grow in knowing the difference probably, and that's all the same for everybody. I think it's not like
no.
Suddenly we hear about sleep states and suddenly we remember and we know about it. So it's great to have an experience already and as a reference.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Well, Divine Truth teaching are about developing a relationship with God, like you said. That's really so. And God, the creator of all things. That's the God we are talking about in Divine Truth teaching. So the creator of the universe, of the laws of the universe, and they are about growing in love and truth and receiving God's love in our soul and receiving God's truth in our soul. And the soul is defined by the real us, the real part of us that God created. You know. Have you developed such a relationship with God so far?
I don't really feel like it most of the time that I really have a relationship or want one. I feel like maybe sometimes a little bit when I'm more with myself, then I open my heart up a bit, or most of the time not.
Does it feel attractive? Do you have a desire to grow this relationship somehow?
It's a good question. I feel like it's still in my in a infancy for myself. I definitely like to know more.
Okay. All right. Do you believe you have received God's love, and if so, can you tell a bit about that, about your experience?
I don't really think that I have this like overwhelming experience or something. I feel like sometimes maybe when I had some emotional cryings, then I felt like somebody was there for me. Or things like that, but I don't have this really strong belief that I
certainty.
can say.
You don't know for sure. Okay. Thank you. How is your relationship with yourself? Did your knowledge of yourself and your relationship with yourself evolve, and how is it developed since you discovered Divine Truth and you listen to Divine Truth?
I think my relationship with myself, I think I always was quite not really nice towards myself or how I treat myself or my belongings. Don't take great care of myself. I don't really feel like it has changed a lot, and it's also the last things on my list.
Okay, still. Okay.
Yeah, maybe yeah.
Okay. Well, you know that relationship with God depends on relationship with yourself and others as well. Yeah. So it's all a block.
Yeah.
Love for self. Divine Truth teaching also talk about soulmate. That you are only half of your soul.
Yeah.
And that there is another half that is your soul. Have you met your soulmate, or do you have any idea who is your soulmate? Do you have a desire to be with your soulmate? Is there some truth for you in your experience about soulmate?
I mean, I guess when we to just get back, I think that was also one of the things that attracted me to Divine Truth. But no, I don't really know who my soulmate is. I think I still have this fantasy a bit of soulmates, how it is. I don't really know.
You feel attracted by this concept?
Yes.
Some people feel challenged that you cannot choose who is your life partner. God already did for you.
Yes, I think I feel attracted by it. I think I had this feeling maybe a bit stronger as a child, that there was this one person that I'm gonna marry and live for forever. I always had this dream, I would say, that I would marry someone and live with them until I die. So yeah.
Okay. How is your relationship with others, your love for others, evolved?
I feel like
when I say others, it can be your family, your friends, you people, anybody in the community, you know.
I feel like at the beginning I distanced myself quite a lot and became more judgmental. But I feel like now I'm becoming a bit softer again. Start to have a bit more compassion and not understanding, a bit more understanding, I would say. But it's just, I feel like it's just little bits at a time.
Okay. All right. How have your feelings toward the environment evolved?
Before I learned about Divine Truth, I became vegetarian because I felt like it was the best for the environment. I still feel like it would be. I still feel like it's especially a vegan diet is the best for the planet. Just when you look at it from a fact perspective. Emotionally, I always loved animals, and that's also why I stopped eating them at some point. So yeah, I don't know if it really evolved. I still sometimes I don't have. I had sometimes cravings towards meat or cheese or something like that, but it's not really strong. It's not strong, but I feel like in my soul there are still some beliefs and feelings that I have, that I want to eat animal products.
Yeah. And what are you beside, your diet with an influence, what have you feelings toward nature change, evolve, like you care for nature, or you desires to help nature to recover and all these things?
I think when I came to Australia, it really made a big impression on me on how the land looked like in a lot of places.
It's damaged, you mean?
Yes, really degraded, and I feel I'm quite passionate about recreating a forest or something. Like I think that's a really, really cool thing, and I think everybody that does it's really cool. Yeah.
All right. Have you been taking actions in order to discover new desires, new passions, things like that? And can you share about that?
Yes. So as I said before, I started a lot with gardening and planting things, which I started to enjoy. Also now here with together with Pierre and Graham doing building a beehive, for example, and I starting to discover with working with wood and doing some like helping Graham sometimes with just the other day with with helping him with the tractor, which was really cool too, just the mechanical side of it. Yeah.
So you're experimenting new things
Yes,
you never
I
did
am.
before.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely, and I want to experiment much more things.
Yeah. It feels exciting.
Yes, it feels
Yeah.
a lot.
Excellent.
Like working with a
Mm.
chainsaw, for example, is very exciting.
All right. Divine Truth teachings speak always about growing in love,
Yeah.
right? Grow toward God and becoming more God's-like, you
Yeah.
know, loving like God does. Have you ever been depressed or really suppressed about not feeling that you don't change, or you don't grow, or it's not improving? And why is that so? What do you do from there?
Yes, I definitely have felt this way. How for me it's still really hard to measure if I'm actually making progress or I'm stagnating. So I feel it's hard for me to comment.
What do you do when you are depressed? You know, you
When
have no desires and you are scared and depressed.
When I do, then I think the best thing is just to do something, even if you just to do something. That's my what helps me.
In a way, you avoid, you get busy to do something to avoid the pain, right? That's what you do. Many people do.
Yeah. But for me, it's when I don't do something, it just gets worse, because then I feel like I'm going more to a negative direction when I'm not doing anything, because then I'm just engaging some addictions or watching something or just
I suppose it depends if you are doing something to avoid your pain, or you are engaging things that you are scared about or that challenge you.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So, Divine Truth teaching encourages us to look at our addictions and what makes us angry in relating to others and things like that. Many people listening, what I have observed in now almost in 9 years or something, many people at some point they get feedback, they become angry, and sometimes they stop listening and they go away and they go back to their previous life, or they try to the normal addictive life. So and my question is that some people do not, you know, what but have you ever desired to give up, and so what is your experience about that?
I think I definitely have desired to do it. It feels like when I felt the most shit, then I decided to go back to normal life. But
why you did not do?
Just because I've tried it before and it didn't work. And it's just hard for me, I guess. I don't really have some of the desires I used to have. I don't really have anymore.
You mean that the life of desire you had before, it doesn't seem very attractive to you anymore?
For example, I used to go to a lot of clubs and played video games the whole day and didn't do anything, and I liked it at the time, but now it feels quite empty.
Which is 20 years person, quite usual life, going out and having party and all these things, and this does not attract you anymore.
But I think that was also at some point where I just had so much pain that I didn't have much enjoyment anymore in those things.
Yes. How these teachings positively or what anyway influence change your life if it has had is anyway?
I think definitely that I want to discover my passions and what I really enjoy doing. I think that's a really beautiful thing to do, and even if you don't listen to Divine Truth, it's everybody should try doing that and discovering what you really enjoy doing. So yeah, I think that's one thing that I could really say.
Okay, excellent. Has your life become more enjoyable or more terrible, more challenging since you discovered the Divine Truth teachings, and why so? What is the reason according to you?
Definitely more challenging, I would say, because you get. I feel like before I was just in ignorance most of the time, and I didn't have to bother or something. Now probably it's just I feel like I have to sometimes. Or there's something there again, but sometimes I don't really want to look at it or care about it, and it's still there. Before I think I would just more ignore than now. So I think that makes it challenging. Yeah.
So it's become harder and harder to ignore it, you mean? Before. So it has been more challenging for you after 1 year and during the first year and a half. Besides the beginning, it has been more challenging, more truths and more things that are hard to see, really, basically.
But I feel like it also, in some ways, it also gave me a bit more of a direction than before. Before I was really lost for quite some time. I don't know what would have happened if I didn't find out about it, or
what would happen.
I don't know what would have happened. I don't feel like it would have ended much better for myself.
So the base of Divine Truth teaching is really about having this relationship with God and receiving God's love, and God's love will transform the soul. That's what Divine Truth teaching is about. And they claim that after a moment when there is enough love in the soul will transform into a new being. Have you faced that it might be true, or what do you feel about that? And do you feel that it leads to happiness and freedom? But do you feel it's something that you will eventually get there, and it's real, or it's just something like?
Maybe I think I have some feeling that it's not possible for me, but for others. But. I mean, I don't know.
You don't know?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Do you feel it's possible?
I have some hope that it's possible, yes.
Some hope, but you don't know. Fair enough. Well, I see many people, to be honest, well, including myself, like, who are just struggling with the teaching, or are challenged, and or I don't see many people who are just shining their light and showing who they are and expressing themselves and, you know, wanting to influence positively the world. It's quite so I see many people quite blocked and suppressed and resisting to the process of growing, actually. And many people go back to their addictions and just like they give up at some point, and so it's something that most people go through it, at least in the first years, and there is something to go further, that you start to know your passion, you engage your passion, you take responsibility, and then you get some joy, and then you can go on, be challenged, but have joy as well, and it become more joyful. But there are not many people there. Well, would you have I know you are in the beginning yet, but if you would have an advice to something helpful, how to embrace this teaching in your heart, and
I think I don't really know what advice I could give.
Yeah. Well, it's short, 1.5 years. Yeah, makes sense. Would you recommend to others listening to and engaging, experiencing about Divine Truth teaching, and why?
Yes, I think because it's there anyway, and you can ignore it or you can look at it, and just because you don't know doesn't mean it's not there.
Well, it doesn't look very attractive when we hear like all this challenge, while other people go in their life of avoidance, like if it's not there. But you would still recommend it? Why?
I guess because I have some hope that it leads to more happiness and more joy.
Okay. What are your plans or goals to grow, if you have this desire to grow toward more freedom, happiness, and toward God's way? Do you have a plan, or do you have goals personally?
I think
personally,
finding out why I'm so resistant to God, why I want to resist so much. Why I want to hold on to a lot of those things.
How are you going to do that?
I guess feel about it.
Ask help. Ask help.
Ask for
pray.
Help. Yeah.
About it. Yeah. Well, is there anything else? We are arriving at the end of the interview. So, is there anything else you wish to share of yourself and your experience with the audience?
Don't make the same mistakes I did. I don't know. No, nothing.
Thank you very much for accepting this interview. It was a pleasure.